Look, Kang is brilliant and all, but none of his inventions even compare to the contents of Scourge's pile of stuff. Would you believe me if I told you that the next big bad of the MCU following Thanos has no superhuman abilities? Of course you would, considering the same could be said about the guy who took down Thanos, Tony Stark. Kang the Conqueror, however, is about to make Tony Stark and Thanos look like a couple of action figures that your brother stole to play with even though he knows you've told him 100 times that they're for display only. Anyway, Kang was able to conquer a seemingly unlimited amount of timelines and universes thanks to his genius-level intellect and ability to create inventions that even people from the future think are from their future. Which of these inventions tops the others? Let's find out right now. The resources for many of Kang's inventions come from across all time and space. Some of these resources come from places he has, conquered. After subjecting an entire planet called Cosmos to his rule, he took one of their natural resources and combined it with an android he created to make the growing Man Stimuloid. This is essentially an android servant to Kang that can alter its size at will. That's right, that naturally occurring element from Cosmos wound up being what Hank Pym would one day discover as the Pym particle. Kang has created multiple versions of the growing Man Stimuloid, and they often appear in the form of a small army in larger fights and as single spy-like assassins for smaller, more discreet missions. They almost always, however, find themselves destroyed, metal flying everywhere, with Earth's mightiest heroes coming out on top. The version of Kang who became Iron Lad invented the growing Man Stimuloid by the time he had turned 16. The Light of the Century Sphere is a unique little object, capable of pulling anyone from anywhere in time and space to Kang's location. Kang used this little ball to kidnap the modern-day Avengers, to use them in his contest against the Grand Master. Once shrunken, he uses the past Avengers as literal chess pieces against the Grand Master. This small ball might seem very simple, but its power of time manipulation is very standard Kang, impressive as always. Effective? For sure. A little narcissistic? Absolutely. Power beyond just about anyone else? Without a doubt. After Kang Prime created the Council of Kangs, he and some of his variants began eliminating all of the millions of Kang variants from multiple realities that proved to be less than superior. In secret, Kang Prime began construction on a series of robots, all of which were copies of the variants that were destroyed. These were eventually used to take out the remainder of the variants within the Council. These clones were then used basically as copies of Kang, with all his powers and intellect, and took on the Avengers who could not tell the difference between the clones and Kang himself. Most importantly, all of the robotic clones were loyal to their creator, making Kang Prime one of the most powerful villains in history. In the Kang Dynasty storyline, Kang the Conqueror used a fragment of pure evil to construct a devastating weapon. Angry with the Avengers for breaking the terms of engagement, Kang used this weapon to lay waste to the Earth. This invention was a large holographic projection of himself, which could be controlled remotely from his spaceship. The hologram towered over the planet and was capable of broadcasting messages to the whole world. More importantly, the hologram was capable of firing blasts that the normal Kang could fire, multiplied by an insane amount. Kang tore through cities, and when the Avengers tried to attack, their blows just went right through the hologram. It took the Avengers reverse engineering this technology to finally stop him, as a holographic Captain America and Kang, each bigger than a planet, epically duking it out in space. The gauntlets Kang wears on his hands are some deceptively powerful pieces of hardware. They possess the power to fire concussive blasts equal to several tons of dynamite, and are equipped with an anti-gravity device allowing him to render massive objects weightless. Probably the coolest feature about these gauntlets is how Kang creatively uses his time manipulation abilities to increase their power. With the gauntlets, Kang has the ability to summon any weapon from any point in time directly to his fingertips by simply cracking his knuckles. Kang's first vessel, for which he used to travel the multiverse, his time ship, can be seen in all shapes and sizes across multiple timelines. First and foremost, it is a housing unit for the generators that power Kang's time machine, but it also possesses shape and size alteration abilities. In fact, when he used this time ship to set up his rule in ancient Egypt as Rama-Tut, he disguised his ship as the Great Sphinx. As the comic issues went on, the ship evolved in shape and even at one point appears as a giant sword with energy beams capable of leveling cities. It is very difficult for any vessels to travel the paths that Kang's time ship can, and it is even outfitted with a special chronal internal displacement field, allowing the ship to enter the realm of Limbo, which the Lord Immortus version of Kang subsequently conquered. One of the few times a Kang variant chose to walk the straight and narrow was thankfully also one of his most ingenious. The young Nathaniel Richards had achieved incredible inventions before he could even legally drive a car, at least in our century. Escaping his future self, the young version of Kang escaped to the past to search for help from the Avengers. Instead, he activated a protocol that formed the Young Avengers, allowing Kang a spot on the team. Kang began work shifting his time travel suit into the Iron Lad armor. This armor functions very similarly to Iron Man's nanotech suit, as it responds to the wearer's thoughts instantly and can create weapons from the metal. Kang uploaded the Vision to be the artificial intelligence unit within the suit, and it gives Kang all the powers of Iron Man, such as flight, concussive blast, and enhanced strength. These handy inventions can be found with all important TVA members, wielding them in at least what Loki calls the greatest power in the universe. The Temp Pads were seen throughout the Loki TV series, and while simple in design, they can accomplish feats that most people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe wouldn't even think exist. First of all, the Temp Pads have the power to open up gateways to literally any place and time on the sacred timeline, and likely in the multiverse in general. They can trap people in time loop prisons, forcing them to relive terrible moments over and over again. It's very likely that Kang saved the best version for himself. His Temp Pad is pre-programmed with every moment in time up until the threshold, allowing for his teleportation to make him literally untouchable. While the others have a more technological design, the Temp Pad of He Who Remains is circular, and made from the meteorite on which his citadel stands. The Ultra Diode Ray was first seen wielded by Rama-Tut, who, by the way, is Kang. It allowed him to conquer ancient Egypt, though to be fair, Iron Man probably could have done that with the best coffee maker he had in his closet. This little ray gun is deceptively powerful, however, which were both displayed when Rama-Tut was attacked by the Fantastic Four. First, it has the power to deplete the powers of any superpowered being. Therefore, Marvel's first family was rendered powerless before this ancient ruler. Secondly, the ray had the power to deplete anyone's free will, essentially controlling their minds. So not only were the four rendered powerless, but Johnny, Reed, and Ben were put to work as slaves, and Kang took Sue as his queen. It was only through some comic mumbo-jumbo that Ben was able to break free of the spell and use the ray to reverse its effects. Kang's battlesuit is one of the most impressive pieces of technology that exists in comics. It is made of an extremely rare futuristic alloy, and gives him superhuman strength and durability, allowing him to fight with Asgardians and super soldiers alike. The suit is equipped with a survival kit, having its own self-contained atmosphere and food supply. His suit gives him the power of electricity manipulation, as well as a Kang staple of time travel capabilities. If Tony Stark proved anything, a character's inventions can propel them to be some of the most powerful beings in the universe. If you liked what Tony did, just wait until you see what a man 20 centuries further with a much more twisted mind can do.